starts. Shots to right and management this side. Is that good? Anyway. The deputy mayor is being delayed. We will start now. I declare the session open. We will meet the mayor when she arrives. And the program, fortunately, unfortunately, I'm the one who has the program. That's why I'm able to chop and change the wish program. I hope you don't mind for be happy with that. We commence with one of these music items. We composed a song specifically for this event, or specifically with the tone of climate change. And once we finish that rendering, we will have MC1. He's hello to me just now to say, where have you been? Councillor will come in and say a few words and officially open this session. It's a community engagement session with information gathering. Asia not represented. And when we studied the UDDI, the big questions started to see the make. We did not aware of video. We first we said we don't know what we're doing. But look where it is now. Sometimes you don't know what to do. So it's a community engagement that we're having today. Immediately after that, Dr. come and tell us from PCC guys, please network with him. Don't leave him without asking or saying anything to him. You will come in and say a few words. There's kids from Motherwell Environmental Group. They're here on my left. They've prepared an item, they will renovate that item here. Easy. And please, when you look at them, find it in your heart somewhere, somehow, in terms of their needs as part of enhancing the message of climate change. Immediately after that, we'll have two main speakers who will say the introduction of what we're doing, where it starts, where it's going, what it is all about. And that's our captain. This again, as well as Andrew Miller, will come in from the Wilderness Foundation. This again is from. Hey, the next disappear somewhere. That's your style, I know it. Dee sitting at the back there, he will come in and say a few words. And then we'll have message of support from various stakeholders. These messages is a reflection of we are all in this together. There's no care of the stupid one, there is no good or bad idea. We're all in this together because we're all affected. We had a video that went around, interviewed people, didn't tell them anything, just asking them about climate change. We'll pay that video after that issue support. Politics Soul will have a forum around climate change. And after that, there will be pledge, we'll sign the pledge that says, I, so-and-so, I commit to contribute towards the betterment of this metro and to the process that's about to embark on just like the last day in June. And I'm proud of this process. I subscribe to the values and principles that we need to do something about what is happening in our world today, let alone our country, let alone our matter. And then after that, we will close. We'll start the session by is there any background to your just wow. Please, take those. Councillor Vitamin C, Metropolitan and member of NATO. Is up to one. Thank you very much, Program Director, Robokon Nasile, Mr. Moss. But she still held up. But she's only with a community protest that she's attending to. But she will be discussing the role of this significant very commissioners, stakeholders, analysts, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I trust that you enjoyed the scenic beauty of Jaber on the way to this venue, the Mendi Arts Center, which is known to be the breeding ground for local artists. It is an extreme pleasure to stand before you and acknowledge your presence, the presence of every single individual that is here with us today. Today is a very important occasion as it represents the culmination of many months of hard work by the Presidential Climate Commission in collaboration with the private sector in the main the Nelson Mandela Business Chamber and the Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. The fruits of your labor brought us here today. I'm very much happy to say that to the Presidential Climate Commission, Dr. Oliver and your team, yes, and your team, the chamber, Dr. Myo, Dr. Kukemu, and the team from the chamber, the municipality. I see the executive director is here, public health, Dr. Kitty Besi, who's also been part of us from the municipality, part of the climate resilient planning. It's a proud moment for all of us to finally be where we are today. As the former South African President Nelson Mandela once said in a quote, one cannot be prepared for something while secretly believing it will happen. The adverse impact of climate change remains a serious concern, and this can no longer be ignored or denied as the poor will suffer the most. We need to urgently mitigate the impact of climate change in order to build a climate resilient city. The government of local unity made a firm commitment to be unashamedly pro-poor, and to deliver on this commitment, we need to improve the material conditions of our people by making sure that we build a city that copes with the current and future changes in ways that prevent development gains, whilst also minimizing devastating effects
As you know, Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality has been a drought-stricken for almost 8 years now. However, when we received the much-needed rains sometime last year, many dwelling residents in the lower-lying areas were displaced due to localized flooding. This resulted in a drain on the resources of our disaster management sub-directorate. Our business here today is to be part of a think tank to cushion our residents against the climate change. That is the main purpose of us being here, and we are hoping that we are kickstarting something that will prevent future devastating effects that were seen in other cities because of not being prepared for what the climate change is doing. As I said earlier, that the Deputy Executive Mayor will deliver a message, a key message of support from the municipality side. So I don't want to be making a speech. I trust that I welcome you adequately. Thank you very much for choosing to be part of this occasion today. And we are all welcome. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Councillor Abuyele. Thanks for those kind words. Before I go any further, there is a keys here that will let the reception of a Volvo. Is that? Okay. I'll bring them to you now. Ladies and gentlemen, next item on the agenda, we have our guests, our partner, Dr. Christian Oba, Executive Director, PCC. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Program Director, and very good morning, everyone. It's great to be back in this beautiful city. And I want to assure all of you that I've not come to steal the city this time. We're here to talk about climate resilience. I wanted to say a few words about what's happening in the world because it has direct impact on what we're doing here in Nelson Mandela. So, I think all of you understand that there is a major process of climate change. That is driving two things. Our world is changing physically, so it's getting hotter, drier, weather is becoming much more unpredictable, floods, droughts are getting longer. So there's a set of physical impact from the changing climate. And the world to control this and to bring it within limits so that it doesn't destroy all of our development and turn our economy backwards. We have to cut emissions. And the scientists tell us we've got to cut it to the point that in 30 years' time, in fact closer by 2050, we have to get the world economy to the point where whatever residual emissions we are emitting, we are offset. So we call that point net zero. And the world is in a desperate race to get to net zero. Some developed countries are going to get there a little bit earlier. So 2035, 2040, 2045. Developing countries, we've got a little bit more breathing space because we didn't were the primary causes of this situation we find ourselves in. So we will get there a bit later. But in one form or another, the world economy is changing. And it's changing in a profound way. So technology is changing. Prices of technology are changing. For instance, in the last decade, the cost of solar photovoltaic power has come down by 88%. It's a massive growth. Batteries, lithium and vanadium and new kinds of batteries are coming onto the market, and the price of batteries is dropping very dramatically. Even wind power has come down very substantially. Electric vehicles are now being produced. China is now putting a new fleet of EVs into the global market, which is cost competitive with the internal combustion engine. So there's this. This is a revolution. It's akin to the big economic revolutions, like the Industrial Revolution and the Information Age and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We've hardly started with the Fourth Industrial Revolution in South Africa. We now have to talk about this low carbon revolution. And that's going to create big winners and losers. So there are sectors that are going to grow dramatically. Renewable energy is going to grow. Batteries are going to grow. The manufacture of electric vehicles is going to go through. Green hydrogen, water-saving technologies, smart agriculture. So these are sectors that are all going to sort of go into a sort of stratospheric takeoff over the next 30 years. And there are sectors that are going to decline, and some of them are going to shut completely. They're going to disappear within the course of 30 years. So coal, despite what some people tell you about clean coal, I don't think we'll ever get to the point where coal is economically viable to be burnt and then the emissions captured and then injected underground. I can't ever see the economics. Maybe I'll be surprised. But fossil fuels in aggregate are going to decline dramatically. And it'll happen in the sequence. So coal will go first, liquid fuels, although we're going to start seeing a big uptake in clean and green aviation fuel, alternative fuels. We're going to need gas for a period, so we do need gas to, for instance, balance a renewable dominant grid, but even that eventually is going to fail. So they're going to be big sectors that lose out. And we worry about that because the people that are most at risk, in these huge economic shifts, are workers in the value chain where things are going to contract and shut down. And we need to, if we want this transition to be a just transition, we need to actively help people move into sectors that are growing, cushion them as they transition between jobs, train our young people and train the future labor force for the way that work is going to change. And we're going to have different kinds of jobs, new technologies. Work is also going to happen in different places. It's not going to always be in the same places before. Jobs are going to come at different times. So, for instance, hydrogen, green hydrogen is probably only going to take off in the 2040s. So, there's a whole lot of complex moving parts about this transition. And helping communities and workers navigate this is what we call the just transition. So for us, the transition must be just. Otherwise, it's going to be disruptive and chaotic, and it's going to turn back the development clock in the country. So justice is, in a sense, our watchword for this transition. And when we talk about the just transition here in Tobacco, in Nelson Mandela, it's got a very particular meaning. So the thing that keeps me awake at night is what's going to happen to our auto industry. What's the employer in the city? I think about 30 to 40,000 jobs in the auto industry. And the auto industry globally is going through a major shift. We export a lot of our cars. And just under 50% of those go to Europe. Europe is banning the internal combustion engine in 2035. The UK is following similar path. Other countries are rapidly accelerating the change. You can see how the US with the Inflation Reduction Act and China in terms of they now mastered the battery value chain, the renewable value chain. They dominate in terms of minerals for the future green economy. So China's making a big play on EVs. So all of the OEMs are looking at highway transition. And when we think about the pace at which we've got to transition, I mean, maybe the South African market will take another 10 years to get to electric. We're a little bit behind the curve. But the problem is our export markets are going to move a lot earlier. And the production of vehicles, ICE vehicles in South Africa, is not going to be sustainable just based on domestic demand. So the imperative for the auto industry to move is much sooner than we think. They've got to now, today, make the investments to produce EVs by 2040. The investment decisions are made now. And if we are not careful in the way that we play this game, those investments are not going to be made here. There are four things that worry the auto industry. It's energy security. And we've got to admit, we've been failing the country on the energy security side. The other is water security. And I'll come back to that. Tobacco has been going through a torrid time in terms of water security. We're subject to very cyclical, longer droughts than before. Your water infrastructure is not great, not well managed. Water leaks, a lot of the raw water, very expensive water, is just leaking into the streets because the leaks are so that's the second thing. The third thing is cost. So, have they got the logistics to get the cost in the market? And, by our own admission, our port management is in a very poor state at the moment. And the fourth thing they worry about is security. And, we've got to also, security is on the decline. So, look at this through the eyes of an OEM investment decision. South Africa's market isn't there, and like these critical success factors for a business to sustain itself, they're going to walk away. So, if we want to talk about climate resilience, we've got to talk about the economy in the city, and we've got to make sure that the economy works not just for now, but into the future. And all of the things that I've talked about have to be part of that resilience package. And I'm only focusing in on one particular sector. It's, EE's always been the motor city of this country. It'll be very tough for the city no longer to have that industry. So if we're serious about resilience, we've got to be serious about working with the industry to deal with the pressures they're facing now and to create the investment climate for a long-term move into the production of EVs in the city. And what's that movement look like? It's not just about how the OEMs themselves function, but all of the value chains that go into that. So who's going to be making the batteries? What are the part manufacturers that are going to decline when the internal combustion engine goes? And what are the other parts of the vehicle that are going to grow? And are we actively building out those different value chains so that we've got a viable cluster? And this is something we've all got to focus on and address in this community. You need to be aware that, we talk about global solidarity. I just want to tell you, we are on our own. There is a naked competition between developed and developing countries for these future supply chains. And we may well be, part of the developing world and belong to the G20 and collaborate with BRICS, but all of those countries are competitors for us when we talk about the production of vehicles or the production of renewable energy infrastructure or, batteries, green minerals. So, I'm drilling in on one issue. It's obviously, if we're talking climate resilience, it's a much bigger issue, but what I wanted to bring home in this case is to say climate is not just an environmental issue that a bunch of greenies sit in the corner and we can all say nice things to each other. Navigating this transition is an economic and a development issue. And we need to understand the seriousness of what we do. And we need to have a concerted effort from government at all its levels. And, from government side, we've not always, there are times where we have failed you as the people of the city. And I'm not going to point fingers at any particular sphere of government, but let's just say, Mayor Cooper, we've not always delivered for you. It's got to involve business in the city. And, business are the people that drive the economy. They create the jobs. They make the investment decisions. So we need business at the table for this conversation. But of course, business are interested in profit. So, we also need at the table this rich fabric of civil society that this city is so famous for. So, the civic organizations, the church organizations, the sports bodies, the environmental activists, the conservation groups. And if there's one thing that we've learned looking at climate resilient initiatives around the world, it's when all of these actors are mobilized into the process of mapping out a resilient strategy for the city. And all of us in that process are required to show leadership. Leadership doesn't just come from one place. And I know political leaders, and I've been a political leader here before. Political leaders like to come and tell you we're in charge. But I want to say that we're all in charge. And driving climate resilience needs partnership on equal terms between all of us. And there are times when some of us may stumble and others must help pick up the load and get us back on our feet, and we all work forward together. So The way that you knit this initiative together in the city is of fundamental importance. You must all have agency. You must all be at the table. When you see someone stumbling, help them get up, join the team, move forward together. So that kind of collective approach is what we try and embody in the Climate Commission. So I work for the Presidential Climate Commission. A number of my commissioners are here. I want to acknowledge Mayor Kukunsi. It's very good to have you with us today, Mayor. I want to acknowledge the other commissioners here. Shafiq is from the Water Research Commission. He's done some of the country's leading work around water resources, water resource management. We're, like you, deeply concerned about long-term water security in the city. And you've got a brilliant spread of catchments around the city. Some of the country's best conservation areas. There's huge potential to enhance water security in the city, but there's some core infrastructure issues that we need to get on top of. So Shafiq, if you want to talk during the tea break, he's there. I also want to acknowledge Brian, who is from the CSR and is one of the country's leading energy and climate specialists. And the other big advantage you've got in this city is that you're sitting on the country's best renewable resource. Wind, solar, wave power, you name it, you've got it. If there's one city that should be the renewable energy capital of South Africa, it's Gqeberha. So this guy is ready to talk to you about energy security, energy decarbonization, renewable energy, what the pathway looks like. Amongst the energy reforms that have been implemented, I've said to you, we failed you on energy, but there is a plan, and there are some very important systemic reforms that government has implemented around energy, including, as companies, you can now build a renewable energy or power generation plant of any size. We've lifted the cap on embedded generation. You can now build any plant of any size. Municipalities can now build their own power generation facilities. You can, as a municipality, implement feed-in tariffs, so you can get renewable energy on people's roofs, selling power back onto the grid. So municipalities have got some powerful instruments at their disposal. You can wheel power from one customer to another. You can wheel it across the municipal grid. And the other thing that's happening is that you've got in this city some amazing community renewable schemes. And I've been fascinated to watch the Kwazakele work that people like Janet Cherry and the Nelson Mandela University have been driving. So you've got case studies of how community-owned renewable energy initiatives can succeed in the city. And if the municipality comes behind those initiatives and makes them work, we can take them to real scale in the city. So it doesn't just have to be private companies doing big renewable projects. We can also make it a grassroots, community-driven transformation process. So you've got many of the things that you need, these incredible biodiversity areas around the city, your water catchments, your renewable resource, you've got established industry here. You can do it. And I see the city as a city of hope and a city of potential. And you've got great activists and leaders in the city. So there's no reason that you can't do it. But you need to seize the moment, you've got to take agency. Don't wait for someone from Pretoria or from Bishu to come and tell you that you can do it. Take ownership yourself. I'm not trying to avoid the responsibility that government must play. Government obviously must step up and we must hold government accountable. But as citizens, a united, activated citizenry is what can drive this process and make it succeed. I've gone way over time, and the program director kindly didn't cut me. Thank you.
Speaking from my heart. Thank you, Doctor. Welcome home. I think, Councillor, it was a very simple way of saying, let's work together. And I think there's an opportunity, and it's correct. We just talk about 4IR and the union arguing that while I was taking away jobs and now there's climate change. And there's so many of these things, the world is evolving. And the one thing that is true about it is correct is the fact that we're competing. I think the complacency that surrounds us when it comes to businesses, we think that we're entitled to certain things that must happen for us. Why must Europe come to South Africa for vehicles or parts if they can get it from China and get it from America? The cost being fixed doesn't make sense. Okay, so it's very important that we wake up to that call. Thank you very much for those kind words. Doc. I'm going to move on to get to Anna.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ismail and I'm from Empire Primary School in Maryland. Drama is about, we are here to teach you about drama around us, to how we can protect the environment around us. It's been a long time, and I'm behind. You would be okay. Oh, I don't know how to play. Let's go. Hello, Mom. I'm better. Hello. Let's do this. I will also take that samples. Take the medication and your mom's classes. Please take care. I am nature. I am beautiful in every way. Wonderful, exciting, and live here. Look outside. See the trees. Watch the flowers in the trees. I am powerful. I surround you. I live. I paint waters blue, mountains green. Under the blue sky, God's unconditional love is seen. The world is always changing. What is happening? Wake up and see what we have done. Environmental pollution is a global issue. So listen, learn, and do your part. Keep doing your work. Love you. The time of action has come. Why do we stop on these resources? Anyway, these fossil fuels take time to form, but you still rely on them. Why? But these resources do have advantages. I am talking about resources such as coal, oil, and natural gas. They are cheap and easy to farm. What else to do? The good news is that climate change is not an impossible problem. We know what causes climate change and what we can do. We do not have a lot of time, but if we are prepared to act now and act together, we can reduce the rate of global warming and prevent the weather change. Yes! The world needs to adapt speed in climate change and in global warming. Because global warming is our hope for a brighter and a safer world.
Should we subsidize from fossil fuels to renewable energy, not only cut emissions, also contribute to sustainable economic growth, job creation, and better public health, especially for the poor communities around the world.
In our daily routines, let us reduce, reuse, repair, and recycle.
Okay, we're moving on to the next item on the agenda. Isn't this beautiful? Yes. That's what we talk about when we talk about future generations. It's not us, Kevin, we're way too old for this. But we always think about our children, our grandchildren. Thank you very much to the director responsible for these kids. And those responsible for that. What's that cool? Discipline, are you ready? You must come, sir. Please welcome Discipline. He is coming from the Presidential Commission.
Thank you, Program Director. Good morning, everybody. It's really nice to be here, and we've been looking forward to this. As I look around the room, I see a lot of people who've been part of this conversation for the better part of it. And it's really been a stimulating experience. We finally got to a point where we're good to go. Now, that has been said already, so I'm not going to explain any of the technicalities of the project. I'm going to leave it to Andrew to talk about how we're going to do this in the city. I want to answer a couple of questions that have been popping up. Before I do that, I just want to say what a wonderful venue this is. This is a remarkable place. It also has a remarkable story. Now, the local people will know the story, but some of the visitors, like myself, don't know it so well. That this place, which was a mechanism of oppression in the apartheid years, this was a beer hall, this was about keeping black people suppressed, is now being turned around into a place of rejuvenation around plotting a successful, inclusive future for all of us. I think that is brilliant. So congratulations, Nelson Mandela Day. The symbolism that you're offering to what we want to do is amazing. So let me just say a few more things. You heard the speech from Boyeye, who has been a close ally to this idea right from the beginning. And I don't think he knows how much encouragement he's given us around a rather difficult idea to conceptualize. You've heard from Christian, who talked about how this contextualizes into a much bigger frame. And you've heard from these young people who I think, Christian, we should hire and take around the world for us and tell the story. They do it so incredibly well. But one of the things that's pitching up often is why start here? I think it's an important question to ask. There are the technical issues, and the technical issues are important, and we've spoken about them at other workshops. There's a wonderful ecological asset in the city that we don't want to lose. This is a city that has been a victim of climate change already, and we need to shore up against that. This is a city that has the potential to have a double whammy. Not only is climate change killing you, the world's response to climate change might kill you a little bit more, because it takes away the center of the economic model of the city. And all of that is what we want to turn around. There's a lot of work happening in the background to build this. But there is another reason why this Nelson Mandela Day is so encouraging. And that is its people. Our experience from the Climate Commission in the last year and a bit is not just an enthusiasm around the concept that we have found with all of the sacred older groups, but your level of organization and activism is just brilliant. The level of camaraderie is something else. I mean, I was watching earlier when the first song was being sung around Down with the Capitalists, and seeing all the people from the business chamber also moving along with them. So, and that's a true story, that we can have our differences, but we have a bigger goal and a bigger purpose that we want to hold on to and move on. So, what we're seeing is the possibility that Nelson Mandela Bay, and together with Buffalo City, you are the automotive hub of this country. In fact, I would argue you're the automotive hub of this continent. You have the possibility of going down the road and becoming another Detroit, a city that is a skeleton of what it used to be. Or you can switch in the other direction on the back of climate resilience and become a Tokyo City action. And we think the second part is more than possible. So we as Climate Commission are going to support you 100% in developing out the strategy. We're going to help to organize to bring the right kinds of partners into the investments to make the strategy real, roll out, but we do want something in return. Because there's always a price, right? The first thing that we want is that we want you to be really successful really quickly. Because what we want to do is to be able to go around the country and show what is possible. Now you know that there's a difficult conversation happening around our climate response in Africa. It's a hard thing. You know, there are certain things that you counted out as your assets, and this is a coal country, with a little bit of gas somewhere, but it's built around a mining culture, and you're saying that the way we're going forward is actually opposite to that. So we want to show the rest of this country that you can be much more successful than you've ever been before on the back of a climate resilience strategy. The second thing that we want to show the rest of the country is that in an environment of being the most unequal country in the world, and we are, in an environment with very high levels of poverty, very high levels of unemployment, very high levels compounding this aspect of that inequality in many other ways. We want to show that we can have a development strategy that is both climate resilient and deal with all of these issues at the same time. To have an inclusive Nelson Mandela Day economy that really has benefits for everyone. That's the vision. And there's not just a vision imported from a bunch of folk from Pretoria and Johannesburg. This is what has come out in all of the conversations that we've been having in the last year. So we are really excited to have gotten to this point. We are really excited what we are launching today is going to make a big difference. But the level of difference it makes depends entirely on what we're able to do, what you're able to do primarily, leading this going forward. And I think that's the last thing I want to say before I hand over to introduce everybody now. Is that the song was incredible, right? I mean, that was really terrific. I hope somebody would want to use that again somewhere else as well. That's just amazing. But the central message around that is that change needs to happen. We need to change the world. And we need to change our ways. So if I take that to my generation, which is a little bit before this one of the big philosophers of my time said it in a different way. That philosopher is Michael Jackson. And he is one of the greatest philosophers that said, yeah, we've got to do this. We've got to look at the man in New York and we've got to ask him to change his ways. That is this job. And I'm really excited, as our team is excited, to work with you to make this a reality for Nelson Mandela Bay, a reality for the Eastern Cape, a reality for South Africa, a reality for Africa and the world. That is the vision. So thank you so much for the effort and the energy that you've already put into this, and we look forward to a lot more going into the future. So now let me introduce Andrew. Andrew is part of a consortium. He's an organization that is leading the consortium. It's the other adventurous thing that we have done. We haven't brought in a classical, very clever set of consultants to come and do this job. We went very good work. We've got a consortium of local experts because you already have the agency in this city. And this consortium is who is going to be driving that in the right direction. The other reason we did this is that it doesn't go in the right kind of way. You don't have to go look for somebody in Joburg or London or somewhere else. They're your neighbors, and you go knock on the door and say, hey man, yeah, this is right. So we're giving you a double agency. So Andrew from the Wildlife Foundation, but also a former president of the chamber, with a great partner in the city. Sir, over to you. It's going to be
It's really a pleasure to be here at this time, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. I think I just need to start by thanking the President of the Climate Commission, by thanking the commissioners, the executive team, the members that are here, for the faith that you've shown in all of us here. In all the various stakeholders that are represented here, in the people of this metro. Because what we are doing here is not only going to build resilience and I think build community during this time that we're in globally of hardship and the opportunity plus the tremendous concerns that are changing climate faces us as humanity. But I think it's also an opportunity for this bay, for this metro, to showcase its wonderful strengths and perhaps one of its greatest assets, which is its
people and its humanity. And so my job here, taking on from what Tricky and Des, I think, have very effectively given you all the context, both internationally and nationally, is really to talk about what we are going to try and achieve here with all of your help and active participation. So this metro, this bay, we used to natural disasters. We are used to extreme climatic events. They have been part and parcel of the history of this bay since it has been settled. I don't need to talk about some of the big storms of the past. We know them. But if we go to the next slide. Our metro, what we're dealing with now is not these normal natural disasters that we've had in the past. Our metro is warming, and it's warming at an alarming rate. And you heard Chippy give some of the context to that globally. And my job here is not to try and confuse everyone with the science and the data. That's still evolving. We're still getting better at that. But what we do know, it's warming at a rate that is unnatural and that requires urgent intervention at all levels. Next slide, please. So what we expect our future to hold, and I'm going to just take the rolling map.
I think it's, sorry, can you just talk now? This is what we believe we need to prepare ourselves currently for
2055, a population of about 2.2 to 2.5 million citizens, warming probably at 2 degrees. Rainfall, which will reduce average to about 400 to 600 millimeters in our key catchment areas. Sea level rise between 75 to a meter. Water use up to 110 a day. Rainfall events, 200 to 400 millimeter events within 24 hours, probably every 3 to 5 years. These are some of what is facing us, and in many instances we have already experienced some of this. Next slide, please. The transitions that we as a metro and we as a bay need to look at is variable weather is going to just be on steroids. We already deal with variable weather. We just need to be able, and we need to learn how to deal with it more often and even more variable. What Chippy was talking about earlier regarding the global conditions to doing business, the rules that are going to be in place in order for us from a manufacturing role to be competitive. Centralized fossil fuel to decentralized renewable energy. Again, should we talk about the huge opportunities we have in that regard. The internal combustion engine to new energy vehicles. And this whole important notion of services for some to services for all. Being separate from nature to being part of nature, part of our stewardship. These are the critical transitions that we as a metro have to move to. We can and we have to build a climate resilient metro. There is of course threat, but there's also opportunity. We are a convergence zone, not just ecologically. You know, we are one of the wealthiest from a natural capital regions in the world. This bay alone has 5 biomes. No other city in Africa has 5 biomes. But also, we have to look at the people, the rivers, geology, manufacturing, transport, weather, land, and sea. We have to take a holistic approach to dealing with the issue in front of us. We have the skills, we have the know-how, we have it in manufacturing, we have it at our universities, in science, we have it in education, and we have the social compact. We know how to work together. I'm reminded with former Mayor Boyeli just 2.5 years ago how we all came together as a community, as civil society, as the metro to deal with COVID. Many in our country thought Nelson Mandela Bay would fall over. We did it. We made a plan. We got together, business and local government and many, many NGOs and civil society groups, the university. We formed a group and we dealt with the issue over 2 years. We can do it again. We've done it before. Next slide, please. So, this has context. I'm not going to go through this, but just to say that since the early 1990s, with the work of Janet, Cherry, and many others, with the Metro municipality in 2015 doing a climate change and green economy action plan, with the Nelson Mandela Business Chamber in 2020 forming a climate coalition with the Presidential Climate Commission, engaging, working with all of us. It's all led to this moment. This hasn't just happened in a vacuum. And that's why I say we're ready to do this work. We have to do this work. The time is now. And so these are the various processes that we plan to go through in the next 12 months as a team. We have a project launch. We need to ensure that the key stakeholders come together and do this steering committees and fora, which I talked to now. We've got a deadline of towards the end of February doing climate analysis and scoping report. We had intensive engagement with all stakeholders, which we are rolling out and will roll out very soon now over the next 6 to 8 months. And then, of course, we've got the dialogue sessions with the Presidential Climate Commission that are active and are helping us every step of the way. And our deadlines are by March next year to have a final report and close up meeting. Having said that, that's just the beginning. You know, climate resilience strategy is the first part of a change, as you've heard, of that is going to be with us for decades. And so this is the beginning of something that has become part and parcel of our culture and our everyday life of living and working in this bay. The key principles that we as a group have taken on is understanding the context, socio-economic, ecological system that we are operating in. Principle of sustainable development, early 1990s, we talked freely about act local and think global. I think that's become so apt now for this metro, for us. If we are really going to make this project, we're really going to make the the change that we need to deal with potentially the greatest crisis of soon time. The just transition that Des and Chippy talks to, no one can be left behind or outside. The collective stewardship, this incredible biodiversity and natural capital that we have. If there was a GDP for natural capital, we will be the richest on earth. That's what we have here. And we need to use that as part of the plan, as part of the way forward. And then, of course, accountability and responsibility for all, and this good governance and citizenship is not about experts, it's about all of us working together. Next slide, please. So these are the pathways that we have come up with for now, centered around people, dealing with low carbon economy, dealing with our green lungs, our blue lungs, and let's not forget we have one of the richest ocean ecosystems in the world, which is a natural carbon sink. We really need to use that as part and parcel of the planning that we come up with. And there are challenges there also. This is a complex ecosystem. This is the transition of all the biomes in the Republic of South Africa take place in this region. It's complex. Our beautiful beaches and our infrastructure, we call our global infrastructure. We need to integrate all of that. I'm not going to go through each of these. We just wanted to make the point that from here out, we are forming technical committees and working groups, and more importantly, we are looking at a steering committee as a guide and as a structure that will help the team that we've assembled to do the work that needs to be done, and for that structure to help to guide and give oversight. And that will be made up of all these various stakeholders. And this is really our call to everyone here. Please engage, please be part of this critically important project for our metro and our region and our country. I think we can really show a way forward on resilience for the country as a whole. This is the team that we've assembled to really help guide and help implement this process, and this is the team that all of you hopefully will be working with. And I'm not going to go through all the names, they're all there, but just to say that the expertise technically is within that team. From the business sector, from community development and civil society, to science, to urban planning, to development, it's there. And through our technical panels and experts that we bring in through the steering committee structure, we are confident, Des and Chippy, that we have got all the tools that we need to produce this plan, not just produce it, but to help to put it into action. With that, I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to quickly go through this, and our team is led by Gary, and you've already met a good few members of the team. Please engage them afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Executive Officer of Wilderness Foundation Africa. Thanks, Andrew. And thank you for your leadership as well. Rio.
administrative arm. I just want to imply something from some of the points that you made. I was going to talk about issues in various aspects of the metro. You mentioned the violence. It's critical that we amplify that resource. You mentioned the human resource, yourselves, the team that has been put together that's coming from within the metro. I'm reminded of a speech that was done by a Professor Harjun Chen in Parliament in 2010, where he was commending South Africa to say it is very rare across the world that you see communities being involved in decision making. And South Africa prides itself for that. I'm not talking about Parliament here. I'm talking about all of us that I saw. I see there are professionals, there are scientists, there are community members, there are children that participated here. You can tell that they've gone to understand what they were. The message that we're passing through to us is to say we need to look out for their future. We borrowed the present from them. We dare not leave them out. We are not just a partner as a municipality. The climate change bill, that's what the act very soon prescribes that will become central as a municipality in developing this strategy. We do pride ourselves in terms of harnessing the human resource across the city, or the metro in its entirety. What I like days about our sitting here today is that this initiative, Andrew indicated how far it's gone, in what year, what happened, etc., etc. Our strategy was done in 2015. But then, because of the consciousness of the residents of the metro, through the business chamber, they revived that a lot is happening and we need to be working together. In our message of support, we would like to commend the team for getting us to the stage where we are, and we can assure you that not because you are putting pressure on us, but because it is an imperative, it's a legal requirement that council gets on board and develop these strategies so that we are able to ensure that the economy of the
again listen to the call that climate change is real, and let us make this region into the region we want. And I'm glad that the young ones were staging with drama here. The education department will have to play a role in bringing this into the curriculum. If you want to fight this, you have to put it into the curriculum from preschool all the way to grade 12 at the university. We're already leading that. And that's what we mean when we say we have to join hands together. We will have to start preaching the gospel of climate change, just like we did with COVID-19. Everywhere you go around during COVID-19, you remember the messages we were receiving. Wash your hands, clean your hands, wear the mask, social distancing. So the team that is put together will have to start thinking what messages should we start to have in our schools, in our universities, in our taxis. That way, we will be able to win the war on climate change. But just like we survived COVID-19, you can say we have been resilient. So we have to have a much bigger resilience, because fighting climate change is going to avoid pandemics like the future COVID-19. Health issues are climate related. And if we can fight climate change, the challenges associated with climate change, then we will win this war. And I'm pledging on behalf of my Vice Chancellor that the university, in service of society, will once again, just like during COVID, we will so yesterday,
In business, we worry about, am I going to be putting people on short time or losing production because of load shedding? Recognize that it's the fog, it's very fog, putting in cold water and slowly raise the temperature is not going to melt, it's going to boil. That's what's happening. So business and particularly my industry, the automotive industry, was going to suffer a slow death. So we actually have to look at how we reinvent ourselves in the new economy. Otherwise we're going to be left behind. So we put together a think tank. There's several work streams that have been established, ranging from the upstream and downstream hydrogen and green ammonia industries, electrolyzer manufacturing, alternative mobility, identifying global gaps, using the competition. We are forcing them into the competition. We've got different problems, and a lot of our problems are short-term. So our energy and our focus is on the short term, whereas our competitors in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Brazil, they have different problems. So they are moving ahead of us. And it reminds me of the story about the two guys being chased by a lion. And one guy stops, gets out a pair of Nike running shoes from his backpack and puts them on, and his friend says to him, "You really think those Nike running shoes are going to help you outrun a lion?" And he says, "No, it's just going to help me outrun you." So the point is, it's not important that we become Tokyo or Yokohama or one of these, or Chongqing in China, one of these mega cities. What's important is that we are not right at the back. Right, continuous improvement will keep pushing us forward. And maybe eventually we will become Tokyo or Yokohama or Chongqing. So our efforts to reinvent the economy and our manufacturing sector in particular ties perfectly with where the PCC is going in terms of they as a climate resilient city. We understand that multinationals, if you're a CEO or a chairman of a multinational, you're rubbing shoulders with heads of states, you get to see the big picture. You get to see that, like the slogan in the t-shirt, there's no planet B. You get to see that there is, you can't run away. There's nowhere to run to. So that when you are a small plastic injection molded supplying this big automotive industry, making internal combustion engine vehicles, you don't see that. Right? It's too far away. So that's why we have to raise the awareness that the time to reinvent is now. You've got to act now. The words of Napoleon, I don't know if it's a good example or not, but the best time to plant a boulevard of trees was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And that's what we need to do. We've got to act now. So it is our hope that with all these coordinated efforts, we will enable our metro to unlock our potential so that much needed investments and jobs can be created firstly, but more importantly, that we can retain what we currently have. So our appeal to all stakeholders, the signed pledge today is to collaborate to achieve this vision. And this pledge is not just a pledge to a vision, it's a pledge to action, it's a pledge to collaboration. And together we can do so with accountability and speed. Now, if we do this, we can put Nelson and Delaware on the map as a climate resilient city, perhaps one of the best in the world. With that, I thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Civil Society, Mr. Alex Banfana, Secretary General, Climate Justice Coalition. Come through, sir. Chasing time, right?
So we at the Climate Justice Coalition have a podcast called Just Us and the Climate, and the slogan for that podcast is that we need to bring climate change back down to earth and show that it's not only a crisis but also an opportunity to build a better future, right? A better, more just future. And I think when we look at the science of climate change, it's screaming in our face. Within the next few decades, we need to transform not only our energy systems, our industrial systems, our transport, our buildings, across all sectors of society. And when you look at the reality of South Africa, we see a society that is non-viable. The levels of inequality, of unemployment, the levels of desperation that so many of our people face on a daily basis. And so we have this dual transformation imperative. One is the science telling us to act, and the other is our people telling us we desperately need to change, right? And if we can marry those two dual transformation imperatives together, this may provide us with the opportunity to build a truly better, more just world. But there's also the reality that if we don't do this, we could create something quite devastating. And I think here I want to turn to the words of Philip Alston, the UN Special Rapporteur on extreme poverty and human rights, who warns of the creeping reality of climate apartheid, where the wealthy are able to pay to escape the ravages of climate change, something that they have caused predominantly, while the poor are left to feel the brunt and the majority of the harsh impacts. And I think we can see that already in the city and across the country. When we look at issues like water to electricity, we see the wealthy being able to pay their way to escape these issues, right? And if we're not careful, this climate apartheid can deepen, right? And so I think when we think about what does it mean to make the city climate smart, we must also think, what does it mean to make it climate just so that we can avoid this creeping reality of climate apartheid that's coming, right? Now, what does it mean to make it just? I did a PhD on this, but I mean, it's all about 3 minutes. I'm going to focus on one factor only, and that is trust. And I'm quite new to this here. I only moved here a short while back, but I've been speaking to activists and comrades, and I think what we really need to do is build trust that this vision will actually deliver for people. I think there's skepticism, there's worry. We've seen plans and plans, and we haven't seen delivery. What can we do to build credible trust that this can deliver? That trust involves who's in the room, who's going to be part of this process, and it involves ensuring that we do things differently because previous plans haven't delivered, right? And I think there's exciting elements of what we see in this room is that the levels of collaboration across different stakeholders is very exciting. And I think this is where the Presidential Climate Commission has been very valuable in bringing together different stakeholders in important ways. But I think we need to be very careful because these plans can get developed and they can sit on shelves. And I think there's an example that we saw with the PCC developing a beautiful vision for how we transform our energy system to renewable energy in partnership with all their commissioners and stakeholders. And when that got to Minister Montashe's Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, it was ignored, right? And I think when it comes to climate justice, it is about recognizing that there is a power struggle, right? And that there are people who benefit from the status quo that are not going to just accept the plans and transform the city in the way that we want to see it transformed. And so our role as civil society is to fight for a future that we want, is to fight for a future that we believe in, and to ensure that these processes just aren't left to those who benefit from the status quo. And I think we'll take that fight to Mr. Montashe around energy, but here locally, we need to think about what is the ways that we can fight for and develop a future that we believe in as the people of the city, and so that we don't just leave this plan to sit and to be taken by those who are powerful and to be ignored. And so this isn't just another plan that because we don't have another time for another last decade. The science is very clear, and the reality of our people is very clear, that we need deep transformation, and it needs to be starting happening now. So I think the commitment is to fight for a more just future, and I think that's something that we need to commit to. Thank you.
Mr. Mr. Kejamola. Is here. Lusanga Msiri from the youth. Come, Lusanga. Try to reach on that one. So we watch it and then we'll just
I'll try my best to actually be accommodative to everyone. I am Lusanga Mseli, as I've been introduced. I am a youth, I would call myself a youth climate champion, so I do a lot of youth engagement. I was called today to come here and represent the voice of the youth. And I am here standing in this very great room, and I'm saying it is with gratitude that as this young person that I am, you have given time to say, let's hear the voice of the youth. Now I'm hoping within the strategy, it will be more than just hearing the voice of the youth, but actually actioning and including the youth to be part of making this possible. When I speak of the people in Lebanon, because that's where I come from, and we face illegal dumping. So I speak of the change that I want to see actively. Ndifuna kutoka ngemala, ndifuna kuhle, ndifuna indawo esihlala kuzo singabantu abamnyama ibe zindawo ezintsha. Xa kuthethwa nge-climate siyithatha as abantu abamnyama ibe ngathi yinto ekude because of the terminology that is used in the spaces of climate change. I as a person who is, how can I say, to find awareness important. Because sometimes you might think that people are not engaging, people are not responsive, but sometimes you find that they cannot really relate to the information that you are giving to them, or rather how you are giving the information to them is not relatable. So I am saying to this team, please get down to the ground, include your youth. We have young people here. We have young people who are willing to learn. We have young people who are willing to work. As much as we have this idea that young people aren't willing to work, I am one of those young people who are so open to learning, who are so open to engaging, and who want to be included in decision making, in planning, and in processes. So as I stand here, I'm here just asking the climate resilient team. It's great that we have a strategy. I've actually gone to many places and I've been like, hey, what's happening with Canada? Because we have nothing going on for us. What are we going to do? We're such a beautiful place. We have so much to give, and there's so much that our young people can actually be benefiting. I mean, we're transitioning, and as we transition, truly, there's new skills. But you'll find that the youth of Nelson Mandela Bay is behind because we haven't taken the time to say, what can that youth do? The youth from along the coast, with our blue economy so rich and nice. So I'm engaging, or rather I'm saying, I'm asking, it's an ask, to the youth too. Please stand up. When there's an opportunity for you to go and engage, be in that room and speak and lay out whatever it is that is in your heart that you want to be heard and implemented. Have that confidence, have that zeal. Your voice is worthy. And I'm hoping that everyone that will be implementing everything will just keep in mind that our youth, especially here in the Eastern Cape, we don't have employment. Now we need skills development. So we need new ways. And as much as we have spoken about all the benefits in the orchard sector and so forth, as we are transitioning and getting into the new ways of approaching things, can we please give the youth skills? New skills that will help them adapt in this new economy. And can you please create opportunity for the people that are locally in the community and engage them and ask them what they think will be the best way to approach this. And I'm sure with that, we will all be working together. Now just to end, I have these words that I really love by our how do I put Nelson Mandela? He has actually paved the way for me, and he's the reason I decided to be educated enough so that I can not be scared to stand in front of people. He says, I dream of our vast deserts, our forests, and of all our great wildernesses. We must never forget that it is our duty to protect this environment. All of us, every single one of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Upfront, Chairperson, I've said that to Gary and other people that I'm not worried in the subject, but I'm worried in knowing the implications of climate change. And of course, I'm worried in knowing the fact that all hands must be on deck in addressing the scourge of climate change. I just have to say, Executive, I have couple of things that I want to underscore as we have to express our support on the presented process. That the city doesn't have deficit of plans. I did a bit of research in the website. All that is missing really is what the Deputy President of the Chamber, if I got him right, to implement an action, in ensuring that we are really permanently, sustainably deal with the issue of climate change. That will require, beyond dealing with policy prescripts, the political stability in the city, such that the administrators do that which they are employed to do, working together with communities, society, business, and those that are in the grassroots that are seated in front of us here, working in the space of environment and climate. Allow me therefore, on behalf of the civil society coalition, to express and commit our support for the process itself, which is not in a blank check, I must say, Chairperson. It has some conditions which are not far-fetched. Dr. Mio has helped with it, making sure that everybody is taken on board. That is a prime principle in dealing with the crisis of climate change. We are talking actual engagement, not actual taking part, two different things. Actual engagement, not taking part. Those are two different things. And we need meaning when it comes to that. Secondly, there to be a just or a posture around a just transition process. I got that in the presentation of Dr. Mio, which are taking comfort in terms of that. Naturally, we need to plug it in the budget of the local state. I will soon do a review in Feb or by the end of Feb, so that we're able to see practical results and the focus in dealing with the scourge among the issues that the council is seized with. Surely the issue of climate change has to be at the center of everything. Talking all of us here, education and awareness, we need to hammer on the education and awareness. It doesn't take much. The young people here have come up with practical example in terms of that. With that said, we support the process. Thank you very much.
thought, we're going to look my tickets cost. While they were moving this, Karen, 1976, my home is not far from here, New Brighton, Upper Sandra. My wife is just 2 streets away from here. This place, Yai Bahari. I was schooling here in Johnson Makwana. We're burning this place to the ground because Yai Bahari is a symbol of destroying our society. Helicopters were moving at probably 10-15 meters above us. It was dark, smoke, tires, you name it. So you're right, it's a beautiful venue. It brings back memories when we were platooning with school, walking right through from 12 o'clock to 5 o'clock. The other school fees at 12 o'clock with the schools are bent down. So this is a memorable event for me, a memorable venue. I'm a local chap, born and bred here, not far, it's not even more than 2 kilometers away from here. And for what the venue is today, thank you very much. We're going to move on to our poet. Is that my checklist? Bring it on. She composed a very specific message. Okay. Come down to long ago, you start. Stand by yourself. Take instructions, come. Okay.
Change the mic.
This one. All right.
Oh, okay.
She's happy. There's the audience in front of you. There's no program.
I love it.
Okay. Over to you.
8 years. Good afternoon. My name is Poetic Soul. When I was writing this poem, if I can quickly just preamble, 2 songs came to mind, and music is one of my, biggest inspirations for my writing. Human voices and music. And the 2 songs are in conversation, and one eventually won. It is a song we used to sing in primary school. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. Then everyone came through a rudely interrupted. Green, green, it's green, I say, on the other side of the hill. I'm going my way to the where it's green and still. So that was a conversation that was happening, and I had to decide what angle I'm taking. And the other side won. So this is the poem with a simple message that says, perhaps when we took time to appreciate what we have right here, we might take better care of it. It's always greener on the other side of the hill. A song sung by those who struggle with being still. Those who can never be fully present where they've been physically placed, and are often found wandering off to an imaginary land far away from the reality that dances before them, presenting them with an opportunity to experience true joy in real time. The greener grass on the other side of the hill speaks of our dissatisfaction with the space that carries the weight of our bodies. As if this land does not enough. It feeds us not. It quenches not our thirsts. As if further time is failing to wake us up on time to soft kisses and bright light in the day. As if he forgets to burn the moon candle that guides us home in the dead of the night. I guess it's true that our biggest blessings fade in comparison to the other side. Yet every morning we rise in search of our first breath as if we deserve it. We bask in the sun as if we own it, and we call for the rain as if we run this. We are always expecting Mother Nature to be waiting and ready to serve our every need because her home is filled with scrumptious food of all kinds, like we deserve it. Fresh waters overflowing, we've come to think we own it. All this backdrop by a cacophony of a choir of birds who sing to our broken egos. It's no wonder we think we run this. Strange that with the gold at our feet and the hills as our seats, we can't stop singing. It's greener on the outside. It is our other-sidedness that has stolen our minds from observing the gift of the here with humility. We have become a people who take but never give back, break and never mend, remove to never replace. And we act shocked that Mother Nature is now in distress, helplessly watching the gluttonous patterns of her progeny as we devour all of her supplication with no regard for the other and no consideration for tomorrow. She's sadly sitting in audience of her young, trampling on the royal grass she had laid for us all, as though we're elephants at war. So absent are we from the reality of our present situation, we do not see nature throwing a tantrum. Not so long ago, the sea could not hold it anymore, that she stood taller than she usually is and let out the loudest cry we have ever heard from her, leaving many homeless, washed out and pitiful. The river, in sulking, refuses to come forward and be one with us who spit filth at her. The sun overheats in anger at us who have left her so exposed. And now summer comes covered in autumn's coat in disguise, robbing us of enjoying this jovial mood that comes with a season we've become so entitled to. And none of us are aware and attentive enough to notice that whenever the rain falls, so many are left in tears, emulating the pain of the gods who have worked so hard to give us a life so good and still have to bear with the sound of us obliviously singing about the greener pastures of the other side. One day, we will wake up to an ashy earth with naked trees that hunger for a lone bird to sit and sing a song, even if out of tune. The butterflies will lack the energy to decorate the streets of our cities with their colors so spectacular. The soil will resemble a hostile wound that can no longer bear fruits for us to feed our souls. And then we will finally embark on the longest pilgrimage to the other side of the hill, only to find that the other side people have been chanting the same song we've been singing. And then realize that to the people who live beyond the hill, ours has always been the other side. Oh, what a missed blessing. I thank you.
Poetic soul. Poetic soul. Thank you very much, Sister. There are no limitation in visualization and vision, though. She just took us away from this venue. And she put us on a different level, and we just wandered around. We could see this wasteland, and this butterfly, and this one song in a tree that's leafless. sign the pledges? There's a pledge. I want to read the pledge so that the people sign it. I'm going to ask all the speakers that were here. So, ladies and gentlemen, speakers that were here, that came to the floor to say a few words, to come through and sign the pledge. I'm reminded that the president of the chamber is here. George, whatever. Can I ask all the speakers that gave message of support? Calvin, please do come as well. Dr. Where's Andrew? Come, Andrew. Just want to read this message of support so that people can pledge. In the meantime, people are moving on. The pledge which as follows. Building a climate resilient Nelson Mandela Bay. Our climate is changing. We must act collectively and urgently in response. We, the undersigned, hereby recognize that our metro is already faced with significant socio-economic challenges, including widespread poverty, unemployment, and limited access to resources. We recognize the increased risk and impact that climate change will bring, including but not limited to drought, extreme heat, flooding, tidal surges, food shortages, and infrastructure damage, among others. We also recognize that through collaborative, metro-wide efforts, we have an opportunity to adapt, mitigate, and build resilience to change. And that there is an opportunity in the adversity to both revitalize our economy and renew our communities if we work together and sustainably. Our Bay has exceptional social and manufacturing skills. It is endowed with significant human and natural resources. These can serve as a platform for such multi-sector efforts and from which we can build a prosperous and just future for all. Together, we can and must forge these new pathways. To this end, we commit ourselves in our organizations, in our institutions, to a collaborative process under the lead of the Presidential Climate Commission Project Team in developing a climate resilient development strategy framework that will place Nelson Mandela Bay on its pathway to realizing its bountiful potential. That is the pledge we are signing, ladies and gentlemen. Can I ask members present to come in and sign? There is no order. Sign the president of the chamber, please come. Councillor Wheeler, please. Is on Can I ask the commissioners, please? Is Zamba Montez? to come over. Can you commit yourself and justify why you are here, please, guys? Because when I phone you and say this what was said, we need your capacity and your capabilities. Now, I'm going to take a group. I'm going to ask for a group for the guys can come around your signatures. Take a break. Come this way. Come this way. Get around it. Come. Come guys this way. Come this way. Come this way. Andrew, will they be able to see you then? Photographers. Just stand behind. Who is supposed to be the last one to sign? Brian. I'm from Jim. Oh, from the Capital Better sign. National Family. Commissioner, I didn't see you sign. You did. Now, what the other side? Okay, cool. Are you happy? Photographers, 1, 2, 3. Are we done? Thank you. Good morning. Any other stakeholder that want to sign? My board. and gentlemen. Hello, good morning, good afternoon.
A very important part of our program is that everyone is involved. We want to make sure that this program is as inclusive as possible. One of the things that we really wanted to do is to build a vision together, and we started that program already with our questionnaires that are going out, and hopefully you will fill them in and send them back to us. But we wanted you here today to turn to the person next to you, because we're a friendly city, and to talk to them about what would you like to see in 10 years' time. It's 2034. What has changed? You've got older, but what would you like to see? What would your ideal be? We want to be driven by a vision that is inclusive of us all. We want all to be part of a vision of a new, beautiful, better Nelson Mandela. So if you turn to the person next to you and give some of your dreams of what you would like to see in 2034. We're not going to take big feedback on it. There's a vision board outside, just outside the room on the left-hand side, and we'd love you to write up your ideas there. We're running hell of a late, so we're truncating that. But if you can talk to the person next door to you about your vision for 2034. Wonderful to see. It's wonderful that the people of Nelson Mandela are able to communicate and chat with whoever next to them, whatever they are, whoever they are, that you want to talk and learn from one another. Please take your ideas outside and put them onto the vision board. It's a picture of our city or a picture of it here at the beach front. But we'd love you to write your visions on that board before you go. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, people are networking. Okay, so one item on the agenda. see, second functions and later. Siyakhulisa ngokudabisa u-MMC Pambani Bize. I will just quickly say a few words. The announcement uzakwenzeka ntoni ngoku. On behalf of the team, I just want to thank everybody present here. Okwesibini, kuthiwa mandibulele i-staff salapha. Unfortunately, MMC, you can't do that. This is your staff. So, but we say thank you very much for these staffs that are mainly who apply this course from first time and this one is flies in the up. Yeah, which I'm here. I will give you this from Nature Reserve. My schoolmate, artist, you see the beauty that you see here? The paintings that you see on the corridor we walk in? What the is from Abawasis Abelani, stones far away from our home. He's an artist, born artist. What the if we saturate, perhaps the way you should post the video on Facebook. Our plan abandoning that through these things under the mentorship of God. You must see it and pray, see it in action when they draw what you see outside video. The talent is there. Parents couldn't believe that these are the kids that put up what is outside. And they've attracted a lot of attention and potential funding to support them within the context of over and above youth and children looking after, but within the context of the climate change. The music team, siyabulela kakhulu. Assistant, the environment educator, nabantwana plays abadlala kanjani. Uluvuke bathe mandigqibezele ngolu hlobo. Let me finish up by saying that we can translate it, unfortunately. Because I get comfortable in my lingo. That there is snacks organized out here when people are done. And I'm going to call now MNC. Also, for the lady, I'm going to call Oscar.
I think the word of thanks has been done or made by the program director. Now that we are at this stage, we have, on behalf of organizations that we come from, we have put our signatures on this pledge. And now the work begins. And I was reluctant to come and put my signature here. I kept on saying the executive director will sign on behalf of the network. Because I wanted to be one of the people that's going to be chasing. And when Dr. Mio was presenting, there were deadlines that were on his presentation. I was to make sure that we don't even miss one deadline from the commitments that we are making. We want to make sure what we have committed ourselves as a seat, working together, we will do as we have agreed. So thank you very much for coming. This is the start of making sure that we protect Nelson Mandela Day, not just for our organizations, but also for generations to come. To make sure that the beautiful city that we have inherited, when we leave, it must still be intact. Thank you very much. May God bless you. Thank you.
In closing from my side, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank you for allowing me to drive this difficult process. And key words for me that parting short. One, in climate change, there's a mitigation and adaptation, number one. Okay. Number two, we've got to make sure that we understand it's a multi-sectoral. If you read some of the scripts, there's about 13 sectors and everything we have here. Doc, Crispin did mention those sectors. I only only one, but under by two. All of us in this room are responsible for it. Number three, we need to identify a project MMC that are very attractive, that attract investors, that attract global funding. There is money available, but they could make business sense. The value proposition that put in must be compelling so that they attract funding. And it's very important that international climate change adaptation agenda is integrated in our current and our future strategies, and make sure that there's accountability, there's deadline, it's clear, there's no confusion, we can measure. We can come here 6 months later and say, remember, this is what we said we'll do. This is what we've done. This is what has been achieved. This has been not been a challenge. We're asking for your indulgence on how we can make it. Our collective strength in this room is critical. And key for me, lastly, is how do we use this MMC, ED, collectively in the council, provincially and across all sectors as a catalyst for economic development, such that we can accelerate most of the things that otherwise would have taken 5 to 10 years to do, but we bring them forward in order for us to maximize on mutual benefits. And I thank you very much for listening to me, and all the best for the day. Thank you. And media,
Assista, joga somente de bala, somente de bala. É um banjo. Vai só lá de lá. E? Vai lá de lá.